Hi everyone and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you had a great Christmas and an even greater New Year. I thought I'd just kick off 2025 by doing a quick video, end of year 2024 video, basically paying tribute to the boxers on their accolades, achievements and accomplishments in 2024 by doing what I call the LL Sports TV Boxing Awards. So yeah, I'm going to go straight in. After I've done, please let me know in the comments whether you agree or not. What do you think? I'll be very interested to hear what you think, and I'll try and respond to as many as possible. So here goes, Fighter of the Year. Now for me, Fighter of the Year has to be Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk unified all the heavyweight belts in, I think it was February 2024 when he defeated Tyson Fury, beat him on points in Saudi Arabia. Then he had to give up one of the belts through no fault of his own. That was annexed by Daniel Dubois, who we'll cover later. But then he had the rematch with Fury in December, beat him again, beat him both times convincing in my opinion. For me, Alexander is the Fighter of the Year, and I think he's a fabulous choice because not only is he a great fighter, I think he's a great human being. I think he's an excellent role model for boxing and sport in general, to be honest. So yeah, Alexander Usyk is my Fighter of the Year. Well done to him. Trainer of the Year, could have been a few, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say for me, Brian McIntyre, aka Bomac. He's the trainer of Terence Crawford, who's another pound-for-pound lister in my opinion. He's closely behind Usyk in the pound-for-pound rankings. So he trains Terence Crawford, who had another good year this year. Won the light middleweight title, beat Madrimov in a really good fight. But Bomac also trains Keyshawn Davis, who seems like he's on a way to being a star. He's got a world title fight coming up this year against Denis Berinchek for the WBO lightweight title. He also trains Shakur Stevenson. He also trains a number of up-and-coming fighters in America. So yeah, for me, Bomac, Brian McIntyre is my Trainer of the Year. Now, Performance of the Year, we spoke about Fighter of the Year. It's only right we should talk about Performance of the Year. For me, that's got to go to Daniel Dubois. His IBF title fight against Anthony Joshua in the UK. It was in the UK? Yeah, 21st September. Shout out to Haz, I think he went to that fight. Yeah, Daniel Dubois went into that fight as an underdog. A live underdog, but an underdog nevertheless, against AJ. AJ is looking to get his career fully back on track by winning the vacant version of the IBF title, but it wasn't to be. Daniel Dubois completely smashed him, for want of a better word. Daniel Dubois was absolutely brilliant, man. He came out, first round, let his hands go, showed no respect for AJ, had him on the floor in the first round, bounced him up and down the canvas pretty much for the whole fight, shook him with pretty much every big shot he threw, and then poleaxed him in round 5. Tremendous performance. I didn't see that coming. I expected Dubois to put up stern resistance. I thought he could even hurt or drop AJ, but I never expected anything like that. Completely wiped the floor of him, to be honest. So much so that I and a number of others were calling for AJ to retire after the fight. That's how dominant Daniel Dubois was. And you have to remember as well that Dubois had some up and down performances in recent years. So well done to him. Knockout of the Year, again, I'm going for Daniel Dubois, man. As I've said, beat up AJ and then face planted him in the 5th round. I can't think of a more impressive knockout, at the top level anyway, in the whole of 2024. So yeah, Knockout of the Year, Daniel Dubois, man. Prospect of the Year. Now, Prospect of the Year for me, there can only be one. I've seen a lot of fights, I've seen a lot of fighters from all around the world, but there's one man that every time I watch this guy fight, I think, wow, Moses Itauma, take a bow, man. This guy is only, I think he's 19 years old, and if he is 19, he's barely 19. And what he's doing at the moment, he's just ripping through that heavyweight division. He had a fight recently against Dempsey McKean, supposedly a step-up fight, smashed him. 2 rounds. Now, this guy, man, there's been a lot of talk going around British boxing rings, especially for a while now, as to how good this guy is. You read about some of the stories, you hear from some of the fighters, top fighters, world champions who have been in the ring with this guy, and they say they simply cannot believe how good he is. This guy is sensational. I don't think there's anyone out there that I can see beating him in a few years. The only thing that's going to stop this guy is himself. And when I say that, I mean is if he allows himself to be distracted, the usual things, women, you know what I mean, outside influences, booze, arrogance and stuff like that. But if he maintains his current rate of progression, this guy is a nailed-on world champion. He's that good. He's got everything, man. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got footwork, he's got the whole lot. I mean, I guess we don't know what he's like when he's been hit on the chin. And in heavyweight boxing, that's quite a big thing because these heavyweights carry serious power. So one punch can undo a lot. But trust me, when I tell you that, this guy excites me. I've not been excited about a heavyweight since Mike Tyson. Now that is to tell you how good this guy is. I mean, I know that the people around him were talking about him possibly trying to break Tyson's record. I think Tyson won the title, it set a record, it was 21. They've got to be careful in pursuing that because, you know what I mean, you don't want to put the guy in too soon and get him beat or get him, you know what I mean, hurt or whatever. You don't want to put him in over his head. But the problem they're going to have is how to match him because he's that good. You know what I mean? They're going to struggle to get opponents for this guy because he is that good. And then there's always going to be the tendency to want to rush him. But trust me, I've been watching boxing a long time, and when I tell you that I'm so excited about this guy, I consider him a can't miss. As long as they handle him right, his manager, Frank Warren, and all the rest of the guys, his trainers and stuff like that. And he, of course, does his due diligence, put the works in, can't miss. Phenomenal talent. That's what I've got to say about him. So yeah, Moses Atalma, man. If you've not seen him yet, make sure you check him out. Upset of the year. Now, there's a few candidates for this, but I went for Bruno Serras of France. You've probably not heard of him. I haven't heard of him much until I saw the job that he did on Jaime Munguia, who's a former world champion. Jaime Munguia had fought this year against Canelo Alvarez, gave him a decent test, but was ultimately beaten. So he was trying to get his career back on track to become a world champion again. I think he'd had one fight, a pretty routine win, and then they got Bruno Serras to come over to Mexico. So the fight was in Mexico. Bruno Serras coming into that fight, I think I think he was a decent fighter. I think he's had something like 25 fights and only 2 losses. But he was seen as pretty much a bit of a sacrificial lamb for Jaime Munguia. But seems like he didn't read the script because he went in there. He took a bit of a shellacking in the first round or 2, but he was always in there throwing back. And then later on, I think it was round 5, 6 or whatever, started landing, and then he knocked out Jaime Munguia with a counter right hand. Beautiful shot. Laid Munguia out, man. You know what I mean? Munguia to his career did get up, but he was out of it. And that was a massive, massive shock. And that is my upset of the year. So well done to Bruno Serras of France for that. Promoter of the year, to me, there can only be one. Turki Alalshikh. Now, this man has pretty much revolutionised boxing. He is the face of boxing. He's pretty much saved boxing. I mean, before Turki Alalshikh come along, we were in that long, drawn-out situation where fighters don't want to fight each other, they don't want to fight abroad, they only want to fight certain conditions and stuff like that. Turki Alalshikh, and I know he's got a lot of money behind him, but he's managed to make sure that money has been for the betterment of boxing. And he's put on these major shows, and he's started putting on shows, not just in Saudi Arabia, but he's putting on shows across the world now in America and Britain and places like that. He has literally changed the game, and he deserves a hell of a lot of credit for it. And I know some people have been naysayers in saying, you know what I mean, it's not good to have one person just controlling boxing like that. Yes, you could make some arguments to say that, but by and large, he has been exemplary for boxing. Like I said, he's pretty much saved boxing. So well done to Turki Alalshikh, promoter of the year without any shadow of a doubt. All the great promoters are working with this guy to get the best fights put on in boxing. Manager of the year, I'm going to go for Frank Warren. Yes, Frank Warren's had a really good year. Like I said, he's turned up with Turki Alalshikh. To his credit, he's seen where it's going, him and Eddie Hearn. Those two, by the way, you couldn't get them in the same room previously. Now here they are working together with Turki Alalshikh, putting on big fights. But Frank Warren's had a great year, had a lot of great fights. The 5v5 with Eddie Hearn, which he trounced Eddie Hearn, that was almost like the carte blanche to say, look, he's back on top of things, certainly in this country and abroad. I can't think of a better manager. He's got a lot of good fighters under his tenureship. He even lost the heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury, but then regained it through another title with Daniel Dubois. So well done to Frank Warren. He's my manager of the year. Fight of the year, there's been several great fights, too many to list here, but the one I'm going to stick my neck out for is Usyk Fury 1 back in February. I think I said earlier that Usyk won that on a unanimous points decision. Tremendous event. It was the fight that was going to unify the division. You had Tyson Fury, the champion at that time, unbeaten, against Usyk, also unbeaten. They clashed. Usyk won. It was a great fight, great event, put boxing on the map. Well done to all concerned. Great fight. And for the sheer occasion, I would have given it to Usyk versus Fury. I think a close runner-up, I do have to give an honourable mention to Bivol. Absolutely fantastic fight. Again, Turki Alalshikh put that one on. Undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. Really great fight. Beterbiev won. A lot of people thought that Bivol could have won. It was a great fight. I thought that Beterbiev just about did it, but again, a great fight. So those two fights were the two standout fights, but for me, I'd just edge it to Usyk Fury 1. Most improved fighter, I've gone for Daniel Dubois. Now, Daniel Dubois is interesting because he'd had quite a mixed past couple of years. I mean, he started out as this great prospect, bowling everybody over. Then he ran into Joe Joyce a few years back, got beaten by Joe Joyce, essentially quit. He had an eye injury, he quit, he got a lot of stick for it. People said he would never amount to anything. He's a quitter, this and that. He came back, had some good wins, got an opportunity against Alexander Usyk, did fairly well, had a moment in there where he landed a shot just above the belt line. Borderline anyway. I mean, I thought it was a borderline shot. Usyk went down in a lot of pain, grimacing. It was considered a low blow. Usyk recovered and went on to stop Daniel Dubois. Again, a lot of people said that Daniel Dubois quit. Again, he was being accused of being a quitter. But, you know, fair play to Daniel Dubois. He's come back. He had some very, very good wins. Jarrell Miller, Filip Hrgovic, and of course the fight with AJ, which really cemented him, and he's won his IBF Heavyweight World Championship. So yeah, most improved fighter. To consider the criticisms he had and what he had to go through in terms of people besmirching his character, for him to come back in this way and win the title in such devastating fashion, for me, most improved fighter, it's got to be Daniel Dubois. Now, round of the year, for me, I'm not sure, this might be quite obscure to some people. I don't know if you saw it, but if you haven't, make sure you check it out. The fight between a 20-year-old American prospect, Abdullah Mason versus Johan Vasquez of the Dominican Republic, round one, 3 knockdowns. Abdullah Mason, who was the favourite, got knocked down twice in that round, and he knocked down Vasquez as well. So there's 3 knockdowns in the first round. Abdullah Mason came back to knock out Vasquez in the second round, but what an amazing fight that was. Make sure you check that out. Abdullah Mason versus Johan Vasquez, round 1. That is my round of the year. Brilliant fight. Got to give some respect to the female fighters. I've included a category in here. Female Fighter of the Year. Now for me, there can only be one, and that is Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields, now 15 fights, 15 wins. I think she's now world champion in 5 different world classes. And earlier this year, she also annexed the heavyweight champion of the world. So she basically started off as a light middleweight and's gone through the weights. She's now a 5-time world champion. She's unbeaten. She's not everyone's cup of tea in terms of her personality. She can turn a few people off. But the one thing no one can dispute is that inside the ring, she is sensational. She's pretty much unbeatable so far. I wish her public persona was a little more accommodating, because I think she does have a great personality, but sometimes she does get caught up in whole social media stuff and some of the other stuff outside the ring. Hey, I guess it works for her. But listen, inside the ring, no doubt about it for me, Claressa Shields, head and shoulders above any other woman fighter in the world. And that's not to disrespect the likes of Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano and several others who are applying their trade and doing a good job. But for me, Claressa Shields is the absolute GOAT of women's boxing, no doubt about it. A final category that I'll put in here, a Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm going to give it to Bob Arum. I think he's now 93 years old, something like that. He's been promoting at the top level now since, I think, the 1960s. I think he was involved in the Muhammad Ali, George Chuvalo fight in 1966. Now, that's how long he's been in the game. He's still going strong, still got lots of good fighters, especially in America. So he's definitely up there as one of the best promoters in the world. So to still be doing that at his age is pretty phenomenal achievement. So I'm going to give him the Lifetime Achievement Award. So there you have it, people. That's my awards. That is the LL Sports Boxing Awards of 2024. As we go into 2025, there's some great fights I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm going to be doing another video on that, actually. The fights I want to see in 2025, I'll be uploading that one soon. But in the meantime, just want to say thanks to everybody for watching. If you're new here, please like, share and subscribe. As I said earlier, please let me know your comments and views and opinions on some of the categories I've listed there. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Please let me know in the comments and I will get back to all of them. I promise I will do that. Thank you very much. I'm out. See you soon. Take care.